This is the new Peugeot 3008, and it's a little bit like the ugly duckling that then grew into a lovely and beautiful swan. You see, the original 3008 was a bit of a minger.
Brother,
The second generation car was much better, but this one is better still. It's actually rather fine looking. Well, for a family-friendly, pumped-up hatchback SUV type thingamajig. Anyway, in this video I'm going to talk you around the exterior design. Supposed to be like claws. Show you the inside. It's like you're in a spaceship. See how practical it is. I like functionality. I'm going to take it for a drive. If I'm going to tell you what's good about it, I want to do a bit of butterfly. What's not so good about it? And of course I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is or isn't. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Carwow. Let's start off by talking about the design of this car. So I've already said at the beginning, I think it looks pretty good. It's got a nice flat rear end, sloping rear screen though. That does mean that there is no rear windscreen wiper, which is a bit of an arse. And this spoiler, it's not just for show. Apparently it improves the aero for increasing the range. Now this says E3008 because it's the electric version. Sorry to be reviewing the electric version. There will be a petrol version later on, but anyway, that'll just say 3008. And I like the light design. It's kind of got this thing where it looks like it's been scratched by a lion. No, it doesn't look like it's been scratched by a lion. It's just got 3 lines. It's supposed to be like claws. This is what it looks like when the lights are on. Okay, let's move down the side because I'm a bit embarrassed about what I just said. You can see that sloping rear end from this angle particularly. It looks really good, and you've got like this kind of sculptured effect over the wheel arches. Speaking of the wheels themselves, 19-inch alloys rising up to 20s. These are the 20s. And then look, you can see the sloping roofline even more from here. One feature on this car that they're very proud of is you can't see the window rubbers because they've recessed them in there. Can you see that? So it's kind of nice and cool looking. Although I wonder over time whether this is just going to fill with crap. In fact, look, it's already starting to fill with crap. Look, crap, that's crap. For now though, it looks good. Moving towards the front, look, there's the scratch lines. Like the headlight design, really quite cool. And there's a lot of grille going on. Even though it's an electric car, you don't need a huge grille, but it's got one because of course there is a petrol version as well. And it's got like this sort of, do you know what, this effect reminds me of what Mercedes used to do on its like A-Class back in the day, you know, when you used to have stars on the grille. More grillage going on down there. And I think this has the radar sensor behind it. Shame they didn't figure out to put it behind the badge. If it is behind the badge, anyone knows that, let me know, but I think that is where the radar is. Renault puts it behind the badge. Very clever. Anyhow, how much does it cost? It's quite expensive, this car. So let's go on to Carwow to find out. If you go for the normal petrol version, it starts from just under £35,000, rising up to £38,000. So there's an average Carwow saving of almost £10,000 off one. It's going to be a different story though for the electric version. So let's have a look at that. Okay, and as I predicted, the electric version, that starts from just over £45,000 and rises to just under £50,000. And you can only save an average of just under £3,000 off one of those. Still, something is better than nothing, isn't it? It's quite expensive, isn't it, really, for the electric version? Want to sell your car quickly, easily, and for a fair price? Then head to Carwow to have over 4,000 trusted dealers ready to bid on it in an online auction. First, enter your car's registration to get an instant approximate valuation. Then, if you want to proceed, give us some more details and upload some photos, and we'll help you set a fair reserve price for your car. That's the minimum amount you'd be happy to sell it for. Once you've done that, we'll enter your car into an online auction. When the auction's over, we'll let you know the result, and the dealer with the winning bid will be in touch to arrange easy payment and free collection of your car. 93% of sellers surveyed said they got the price they expected or more through Carwow. The best bit is, it's completely free! I put a link in the description of this video and the pinned comment to take you directly to Carwow, where over 4,000 dealers are ready to bid on your car. Or you can just click on the pop-out banner that should be appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen now. Alternatively, just Google "Help Me Carwow" and we will help you sell your car quickly, easily, and for a fair price. On with the video. Welcome to the inside of the new Peugeot 3008, and I've got to say, I love this interior. It is so nice. Just look at the design. There's plenty going on. It's like you're in a spaceship, especially with this big screen. And unlike with other manufacturers, such as BMW, cheap BMW, which have like a split screen, this is all one screen. Look at it. Amazing. And it's pretty good as well. There's lots of functionality. Takes a wee while to figure it all out, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy to use. And of course, you've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Also, you can control lots of things using the buttons on the steering wheel. They're not touch sensitive buttons, which is a good thing, so you don't knock them accidentally when driving. Speaking of the steering wheel, as with other Peugeots, you've got this little steering wheel and you look at the dials over the top. And for some people, wasn't expecting that. Did that just turn on the wipers by doing that? Stop it! Anyway, for some people, you may find, depending on your driving position, that the top of the rim obscures the dials. I'm fine though, and there is enough adjustment in that you should be able to get it right enough for you. I quite like the feeling of the steering wheel. It's very, very sporty. Once again, it's got a sort of spacecraft vibe to it, and the quality generally is pretty nice, like the damping on there. Feels good, satisfying. And the materials here on the dash, and this bit here, which is, it's got LED lights behind it, and you've got squidgy materials up here, soft and yielding up here. Once again, nice materials, and even down here. It's only when you go low down that it gets a bit like old-fashioned scratchy Peugeot-y. And I'm not so keen on the headlining. It'd be great if that was like Alcantara, but other than that, the quality is great. Also, the functionality is quite good, so you've got separate controls for easy access to your climate controls. You've got this special panel here. Well, more on that later, because I'm going to go into a bit more depth about it, because it's definitely worth it. Let's move on to practicality. So you can tell a car's posh by the way the underarm storage operates. See? Look, it's just like on a Mercedes. Look, not just one thing that you lift up, it's two separate compartments, so you can have the armrest down and then still get access. Love that. And it's cooled. You can't see in there, but there's a little dial that you can actually like open the aircon vent to cool whatever you want to put in there. You've got your cup holders for your bottles there. I wish you could cover those cup holders. Shame you can't. Under here though, there is some more storage with your 12 volt, your USB inputs there. It's quite a big cubby hole. And then here's your wireless charging pad. There, that's all good, isn't it? This is a bit of a letdown though. Glove box wall, it's nicely lined with felt. There isn't so much space in there, although it does go back a decent way. And then there's an extra little storage bit there for, I don't know, like bits and pieces. So smaller items go in there and then bigger items in there. Door bins lined with felt. Actually feels quite nice. Can you fit a huge bottle in there though? That is the question. Let's find out. Yeah, easily. Plenty of room in there. And while we're up here, let's have a look. You got your sunglasses holder and big sun visors. That's quite good. Everything feels pretty expensive, even the frameless rear view mirror. Look at that. I do like it. I love the way that you feel cocooned in it. It's really, really nice. Have I said it's really nice? I'm starting to annoy myself. The coolness continues here in the rear of the car with the various contours in the doors, this two-tone effect. This actually has the optional Napa leather seats, which are very nice and feel quite luxurious. However, it is not all perfect. So, I mean, the room isn't terrible, but it's not brilliant. Also, I don't think there's much foot space, and that's made worse by the fact that being an electric car, this one, it's got batteries under the floor, there's not deep footwells. So you never feel fully comfortable with your legs, and this seat, it's not entirely slant, but it's not jacked up all the way. You do struggle because the seat runners like take up quite a little bit of space that you don't really know what to do with your feet, and you kind of sit like that to try and get comfy, then you change your position. I do think that a Hyundai Ioniq 5 is more comfortable for rear passengers. Now, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, just click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the QR code that should be appearing on the screen now. Just scan it with your phone. Some other things that you need to know about the back seats is that if you're carrying 3 people at once, the body's quite wide, so there's enough shoulder room, but once again, you are struggling a little bit for foot space. Even though the floor's flat, it's all a bit tight. Speaking of which, when it comes to fitting a child seat, I hate these zips for the ISOFIX covers. You always feel like they're going to break at some point. So I'm not going to do that too often. Doors, they don't open the widest, but there is enough space to get a bulky child seat in here, and there is just enough room between the front seat and the back seat to squeeze a rear-facing seat in, though there isn't bags of space. Another thing to note, these storage pockets, they're not the biggest, but they're okay. Rear windows don't go all the way down, which is a bit of a shame. It's not terrible. Door bins back here, there's no felt lineage in the rear. I can save some money here. But the door bins themselves are big. That's why we've got the bottles in the footwell so we can illustrate that. Let's see if we can fit another one in. Let's go for it. Come on, let's just go crazy. Look at this, and then, oh look, I just can't stop. Look at me go. I'm just like, it's bottle mania, isn't it? Look at that, wow. And then what am I gonna do with that? Oh, I'm gonna put my mobile phone in there, brilliant. Although, no one's gonna watch their phone like that, are they? Speaking of phones, if you wanna charge your phone, there's the ports down here, like USBs, and then old schoolage 12 volt. And oh look, because this is the range topping car, got heated seats here in the back. Obviously just the 2 outer seats, not this central seat. And you might use the central seat anyway for this purpose, folding it down, then carrying longer items. Say if you've been shopping for some fence posts. Oh, there's something else I want to show you. So this is the panoramic glass roof, but it's actually not that big. Normally the glass roofs come all the way back here, but because the roof starts to slope from here, it means you've only got this amount of glass. It does have a blind on it, and you can open it, which is a good thing. No, that's the blind, Matt, that's the blind. We know how blind works, we don't need to see that. We want to see open. Other button. There we go. Yeah. Opening sunroofs, great when your car's under warranty, not so good when it's out of warranty because they invariably leak. Speaking from experience, got a car with a leaky sunroof. Now let's check out the boot on this Peugeot 3008, and it has hands-free opening, which works dead easily. Often I struggle to get these systems to work on most cars. This one, it works every single time. As you can see, there's no load lip, but the bumper does protrude quite a way, so there is still a risk of scratching your paint when you're lifting heavy items out. Underneath here, you've got some storage. I like the way this props up there like that, based on these little catches here. That's good. And this is where you keep your cables. Though I'll just get those out, so we're going to do a little test with them in a moment. But yeah, decent enough size, nice square shape. What other functionality do we have? Places to hang stuff off, places to tie stuff to, and places to charge things from. Lovely. And just fold down these seats. Now they don't go completely flat. They go a bit flat if you move the headrests, but you've got a continuous floor so that when you get your heavy case and hoik it in, you can do that with it. Anyway, to the front, people, and let's put this in the fruit. Oh, I love electric cars and their fruits. Okay, front boots for the win. Maybe it's under here, like in the Ioniq 5. Yes, perfect. There we go, it's all good. Let's go. Yeah. It doesn't have a front boot, does it? Not like a Tesla Model Y does. In fact, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of the Tesla Model Y, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the QR code using your mobile phone now. I'm going to get these things out and hopefully I haven't damaged anything. If I have, then we need to delete that from the video because I don't want Peugeot to send me a bill. Oh, it's on the other side, isn't it? Right, let's just check. Kind of regretting it now. Reviewer's remorse, that's what that is. Let's see, please don't be broken. God, this is all unnecessary, isn't it? Ain't nothing to see here. Anyway, that brings me on to 5 annoying things about this car. There's not much space between the door bin and the switches for doing the lumbar support, and because you have to like press your fingers like that, you end up jabbing your knuckles into the door bin itself, and so it's quite hard to set the seat just as you want it. Load cover. Underfloor storage. Space. Yet doesn't quite fit, which means yeet. Done. There are no separate runners for the rear seat belts, which means when you fall down the back seats, this happens. Then you do that, then that happens, then you do that, then that happens. And then, Electric cars often have creaky brakes, but this one is particularly bad, so whenever you come to a stop you get this. It's about as bad as I've had on any car. Bloody hell. This little bit of trim here is very, very reflective. And as you're driving along underneath trees, you get a flickering effect. Now I try and simulate trees with my fingers. Look, so look at that, can you see that? See the flickering? Now it's very distracting actually, because you'll be looking at the windscreen and in your peripheral vision, you're just picking up the flickering in here and you think it's something that's on the screen that's popped up, like a warning which you need to check out. So you're constantly looking like that, driving, then, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, it's just that flickering.
Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5.
This particular car is fitted with the massage seat option. So if I hit this button here, bring up the menu, then I go into massage here, and there's quite a big variety of different types of massage. What I really like about this is once you start it and you set your intensity, the massage keeps going until you turn it off. In many cars, it only has the massage on for a certain period of time and you have to keep restarting it, whereas this, it'll do it until you turn it off or your journey's over. It's a bit noisy, but when you're driving, you don't really hear that. Anyway, the reversing camera has a little wash function on it so that when it gets grimy, which it invariably does, I mean, look at this, you can give it a bit of a clean. So go on, wash it. Bit more. And more. 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 Don't know why I'm keep on doing this, but you get the idea. Yeah. One of the things I really like about this car is the way that it flashes up directions from your sat nav there when you have to make a turning. So I always drive with my Google Maps on silent, but that does mean that sometimes you miss your turning, but with this and the way the graphics are means that you don't ever make that mistake. And there we go, look. Means I'm not having the music interrupted by some person chatting and giving me directions. I can just rely on this. It's all nicely integrated. You can actually alter the functionality of these touch sensitive buttons here on the control panel. So let's say I don't need Android Auto and navigation. I could press the navigation one and get rid of that and swap it for something a bit more useful. Let's go for heated steering wheel. I can control the heated steering wheel there. I can actually go into the different menus and find lots of different things that I can put onto this panel. So let's go into the car segment here, and I can have that button now as the panoramic camera, so that when I press this, it gives me the camera. So good. Another thing I like is this. So you've got these shortcut buttons here for your climate. Down here is a min and max temperature. So if you hit it once, it'll give you low. Good for me. In the summer, you press that, and it'll quickly cool the car down. But what you can also do is set the temperature nice and high, or whatever you want, and maybe you want your heated seat on as well, like that. When you next press the high button, it will take you to that functionality now, look, with the heated seat on and the highest temperature, or the temperature you last set. All very useful. I like functionality. Currently there are two versions of the 3008. There's the petrol version with a 1.2 litre engine that has 160 horsepower. It's front wheel drive and comes with an automatic gearbox. Then there's this E3008 which has a lot of flies round it. Anyhow, it has a single electric motor driving the front wheels with 213 horsepower. It has a 73 kilowatt hour battery pack, which has a range of up to 330 miles. However, there will be a bigger battery version coming with almost 100 kilowatt hours. That should have a range of over 430 miles. You'll also be able to get a dual motor version, so a motor on each axle, which means four-wheel drive and more power. 320 horsepower to be precise. And if you'd rather have something a little bit different, still you want your petrol power, there will be a plug-in hybrid version to come along as well. So which version of the 3008 should you go for in terms of the engine or the electric version, or should you go for a different trim level than I've got here, the range topping trim? Well, do you know what, I'm going to configure my ideal 3008, and if you want to see what it is and the saving through carwow, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the QR code using your mobile phone right now. The first thing you notice when you drive this new Peugeot 3008 is that it's very, very comfy. So the seats themselves are nice and soft and squidgy, and the suspension is very compliant. does a good job of just smoothing out the bumps. Only when you hit a bigger bump do you get a sudden thwack, and I think that's something to do with this electric version's weight. I'd imagine that the petrol version will be a little bit better at bigger bumps because it's not quite so heavy. More on the car's weight in a moment because it's important. Anyway, the rest of the driving experience round town is pretty good. The view forward, yeah, it's decent, and I have my seat quite low in the car. You do get a bit of a blind spot from this, but you do have big door mirrors. The main issue though is the blind spot over your shoulder, huge rear pillar. Now that is a bit of a pain when it comes to manoeuvring like I'm going to do now, but what's not a pain is the light steering, and the small steering wheel makes it easy to turn, and the turning circle of 10.6 meters. However, I'm not entirely sure where I am right now. I can't quite be sure whether I'm going to get past there. So I'm going to get up the 360-degree camera, and look, these lines are helping me. That's really useful. Shame this system isn't standard. You just get the reversing camera as standard, but look at that. Very, very maneuverable. Now, one thing I have noticed with this car though, the brakes. They have quite a long travel. So then I wasn't sure exactly how hard to press them. So the first bit doesn't do anything, and then all of a sudden it bites, so they can feel a little bit grabby. And that brings me on to the fact that this car doesn't have full one pedal driving. So what I can do is increase the regen effect. So when I lift off the accelerator, the amount of motor braking you get, look, it's quite strong when you have it at the 3-bar level, but I'm still coasting forward, so I can't just drive it using my 1 foot round town, which gives you a little bit less control than if you can do it with one pedal driving. Now the flip side is you don't have a coast mode either, so if I go to the least regen effect, it still slows me down. It's a shame because actually, if you want to be super efficient, coasting is the best. It's better to be just coasting and rolling than actually slowing down, because you do always have some form of like energy losses when you're slowing down and recouping the energy and putting it into the battery. And another thing this car doesn't have, which some other EVs do, is an interaction between the adaptive cruise control and the regen. So in certain electric cars, it'll actually alter the amount of regen depending on how far you are from a car in front or a junction. This one doesn't have that functionality, and it's a shame because it's really, really useful, because then the regen just automatically adapts to the situation. And this car does have auto cruise control. Look, I can probably put it on now. Let's see if I can put it on in town. Look, here we go, assistance. Let's go full drive. Let's go, okay. Look, it'll do it slow, look. 20 mile an hour. Will it do the auto steer? Will it spot the lines? Yeah, there we go. So in town I can use this auto cruise to make sure I don't go over this limit. Now it's keeping me a safe distance from that car in front there, so I can go a bit quicker if I reduce my actual gap. So it should let me get a bit closer. I do use these auto cruise systems quite a lot, and the one thing that I like about everybody else's cruise system apart from Tesla's is that it sort of works with you, so you can accelerate a bit, you can steer a bit, and then you can like back off and the system will take back over again. It's like, you know, you take control, no, I take control, no, you know, you're like sharing the load. With a Tesla, you absolutely have to let it work on its own. Doesn't like to do teamwork, it's very much all about itself, because if you try and like accelerate, you try and turn the steering wheel, it disengages the system. Anyway, enough about that. Now as you're cruising along at average speeds, it's pretty blooming quiet in here. Hardly any road noise, hardly any wind noise. Let's check out the efficiency though, shall we? Let's have a look. I can get this up on the screen. Where are you? 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. I think it's supposed to be about 4.5. That's what they claim. However, what's more interesting is the real world range. So it's supposed to be about 330 miles, but when you take that figure, that 3.6, and multiply it by the battery's capacity of just over 70 kilowatt hours, the real world range I'm getting from this car is about 260 miles, which is 8% of claimed. It's not too bad really. Oh, it's just dropped to 3.5. Let's ignore that. Let's get that off the screen. There we go. Now I could put it into sports mode and it'll just increase the throttle response. So we're going to slow it down to 40 miles an hour. I'm going to punch the accelerator and see what the performance is like for overtaking. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, now. It's alright. For a normal internal combustion engine car, that'd be fine. But for an electric car, it seems a little bit off the pace. An Audi Q4 definitely has more punch. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. One of the issues I have with this is a little bit on the slow side. We just got so used to like performance, haven't we, from electric cars? I mean, we're using a Tesla as a tracking vehicle, and Teslas have sort of set the benchmark for the kind of performance that you expect from an electric car. They're all supposed to be drag racers, and this certainly isn't. It's adequate at best. You know, I mentioned this car's weight and how it makes the suspension a bit thumpy at times. You see, this vehicle, it weighs in at 2.1 tons. By contrast, the petrol version with the 1.2 litre engine, that weighs 1.6 tons. So this is a whole half a ton heavier, and that does affect the way it handles. Now, I don't think it's bad at all, but there are times when you start to notice the car's weight. I reckon if you went for the petrol version, because it's that much lighter, it'll feel that much sharper. But to be fair, I went through those bends there pretty quickly, quicker than most people are ever going to need to, unless of course you're late for an appointment or you're trying to get away from the police. I actually think it's adequate enough, this is the handling. It's not terrible considering the weight. I just think that the petrol version will be that much sharper because it is that much lighter, and that's just the way things work out. But really, unless you're a motoring journalist trying to like split hairs and justify your existence, I think you're going to be more than happy with how this thing drives on all kinds of roads. Peugeot says this E3000H should do 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds. Let's find out for myself then. Specialist timing gear up here. There's no launch control. Just hold it on the brake. And off we go. There we go. That's 0 to 60 in 8.4. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Peugeot 3008? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist it. You know, it's not perfect. It could do with a bit more space in the back. It's quite expensive, and this electric version is heavy. However, it does feel like a lovely car to drive. It looks cool as well, and it's very, very comfy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to watch some other videos, click on the video windows. And if you want to see how much you can save on a car, click on the little carwow logo appearing somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Somewhere. There you go.